Hello everybody! Infernape Shinjo here, and welcome back to part 4 of my top 10 generations 1 through 7 Pokemon. And of course, in today's video, we're going to be discussing my absolutely favorite generation of all time, Generation 4. Of course, in Generation 4, they introduced evolved forms of previous Pokemon and pre-evolved forms of Pokemon. So, there might be a couple of them on the list, there might not be. You just gotta watch to find out. Of course, keep in mind that every Pokemon on this list is 100% my opinion, and it's in no way saying that you have to like these Pokemon because I do. And I have no notes written out for any of these, so this is going to be fun. Number 10 is Ambipom. And even back when Apom was a thing in Generation 2, I never really was that interested in Apom just because it was just like, okay, a normal type, and it's not evolving from anything, not evolving into anything, it's just there. You have to headbutt trees, and even so you might not find it, but honestly, I just love Ambipom's design. Now looking back, I'm a huge fan of monkeys for whatever reason, and I just like Ambipom's design. I like how when he evolves, he gets the two tails instead of the one that he has as Apom. And even now, still, Ambipom is used competitively with normal gem fake out and then technician with double hit, I assume. That's what I would run at least. Number 9 is Yanmega. Now, of course, I talked about Yanma already, and Yanmega just looks so much cooler. It probably increases in size, I'm not entirely sure about that, but it just looks so cool. I love the shade of green and the red on it, kind of makes it look like Christmas even though it's not. Plus, I just love that cry that Yanmega makes. It is so incredibly wild to me. Number 8 is Electivire. Now, when Electabuzz was a thing, I never really thought too much about it, because it's just like, okay, it's Electabuzz versus Scyther because of that one episode of the anime, and I just prefer Scyther. But now with Electivire, and especially his little arc that he had facing Chimchar with Paul and Ash, even going so far as to give Paul's Electivire a personality that's just like, oh, I'm gonna beat this Chimchar easily. Just having him have that sort of cocky attitude that perfectly balances off of Paul. And even taking into consideration everything that I've already said about Electivire, I'm not entirely the biggest fan of electric types. There are a couple that I like, but overall they're just there for me, I guess. So I feel like that says something about it if Electivire is on my list. Number 7 is Staraptor. Arguably the best regional bird ever. Don't even try to convince me otherwise. What other fully evolved regional bird comes out with an Intimidate? Sure, he's still normal flying like the rest of them, but he gets close combat to handle those rock and steel types. And even just looking at Staraptor, I just love the design. Even from Starly to Staravia to Staraptor, every single one of their designs just looks cool. And I'm never gonna forget this, but the sprite artwork for Staraptor in Generation 4, I thought that big part on his forehead was actually its eyes. I don't know how I thought that, but that is what I thought. So fun fact about me. Number 6 is Luxray. Now this is where things get wild, because I just said about how I'm not a fan of electric types, but I have 2 on this list alone. And I feel like Luxray is one of those ones that's just like, oh yeah, you like Luxray, but everybody likes Luxray. And I mean, how can you not? Just look at its design. That yellow and black color scheme, complemented by those red eyes, it's just cool. And, like Staraptor, it gets Intimidate, so that's cool. And of course, Luxray is still kept relevant by the fact that everybody wants it to be a dark type. Number 5 is Lucario. Now, of course, Lucario has the privilege of being one of the first Generation 4 Pokemon introduced alongside Mine Jr., Bonsly, Munchlax, stuff like that. Now, the primary reason that Lucario is only at number 5 is because everybody likes Lucario. And I want to include some different Pokemon on my list that are higher up than Lucario. Not gonna deny how cool Lucario looks, but it's just like, yeah, but everybody likes Lucario. But I mean, how can you not? Fighting is Steel type, you know how much I love my fighting types. And of course he gets an ability that makes his attacks even stronger than they absolutely need to be. Obviously, Pokemon did something right when they designed Lucario because so many people like it. Number 4 is Buizel. And, of course, just like everything else that you've probably heard so far, it's Buizel instead of Floatzel because Ash had a Buizel in the anime. And I just like Buizel's personality. It's just like, okay, Dawn first had him, but Buizel wants to do battles, Aipom wants to do contests, so let's trade them, and then Buizel became part of Ash's team. I was gonna say he became a powerhouse of Ash's team, but that's not entirely accurate. But even so, there wasn't a moment in the anime that I saw Buizel and I wasn't happy about it. Number 3 is Krogunk. Now honestly, I like Krogunk and Toxicroak, but I'm including Krogunk just for the poison jabbing Brock in the Sinnoh region. I just love that so much. And of course, Krogunk is a fighting type. And of course, I like my fighting types. And there was just that overarching theme of Brock's Krogunk wanting to face off against Saturn's Toxicroak. And he didn't really like win a whole battle, but he basically got the upper hand on it, from what I remember. But I just like Krogunk's personality in the anime because he was just kind of like a lone wolf, keeping to himself a lot of the time. But when he has to, he shows moments of just hilariousness. Number 2 is Monferno. That's right, Monferno is on the list and not Infernape. My mascot isn't on the list at all, so sue me. But honestly, you could just include the whole evolutionary line if you have to, but I just prefer Monferno out of the other two. Chimchar's cute, Infernape is just awesome, but Monferno is just that in-between stage that a lot of people don't like, but I like Monferno's design. Obviously, it's not too far different from Chimchar with the designs on his body, but I don't know. I just prefer Monferno's design to the other two. Although then the question comes up, why isn't Monferno my mascot instead of Infernape? And well, I don't know. Number 1 is Dialga. Yup, this time the legendary hits the top spot. And of course, if you just take into consideration the legendaries Dialga, Palkia, and even Giratina. I just prefer Dialga because Diamond was the first game that I played. And I mean, a Steel Dragon, a type that's never been done before. Now granted, and I just like the animation for Roar of Time in the Generation 4 games. And Dialga has so much lore behind it, especially with Primal Dialga being a thing in the Mystery Dungeon games. There's just nothing else that I can say other than the fact that Dialga looks amazing. But that is going to do it for this list, and if you enjoyed, do not forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe so you don't miss any of my other videos. Make sure to let me know what Generation 4 Pokemon are your favorite down in the comment section. And I will see you in the next video. Momentai.